Theory of knowledge, Pramana Shastra, is a rich yana of Sanskrit literature, spanning almost 20 centuries, carried out in texts belonging to distinct schools of philosophy. Debate across schools occurs especially on epistemological issues, but no author writes on knowledge independently of the sort of metaphysical commitment that defines the various classical systems or the darshanas. Realist and idealist, dualist or monolist, theist or atheist, and so on. And every one of the dozen or so major schools from early in its history takes a position on knowledge and justification, if only, as with the Buddhist skeptic Prasangika, to attack the theories of others. There are nevertheless many common epistemological assumptions or attitudes, the most striking of which is a focus on beliefs sourced in questions of justification. Mainstream classical Indian epistemology is dominated by theories about pedigree, that is, views about knowledge generating processes called the Pramana or the knowledge sources. The principal candidates are perception, inference, and testimony. Other processes seem not truth, conductive, or reducible to one or more of the widely accepted sources, such as perception and inference. However, surprising candidates such as non-perception for knowledge of absence and presumption, defended as distinct from inference, provoke complex arguments, especially in the later texts. From about 1000, when the number of Sanskrit philosophical works of some of the schools begins to proliferate almost exponentially. The latter texts present more intricate views and arguments than the earlier form, which the latter authors learnt. Classical Indian philosophy is an unbroken tradition of reflection expressed in the pan-subcontinent intellectual language of Sanskrit. Or we should say it is comprised of interlocking traditions, since there are distinct schools, all nevertheless using Sanskrit and engaging with other schools. Later, authors expand and carry forward positions and arguments of their predecessors. Skepticism and the issue of whether knowledge, the P entails that you know that P, are addressed, as well as the question of usefulness of knowledge, not only for the purpose of everyday life, but also the religious goal of world transcendence, about which most schools take positions. The authority of testimony among candidate sources is considered by some to have special religious importance. Others view yogic perception and or meditative experience as crucial for religious knowledge, which is usually distinguished from the everyday knowledge analyzed in the textbooks of epistemology. Logic and epistemology form the bedrock of philosophical inquiry, guiding how we think, what we know, and how we justify our beliefs. These two domains are not just academic tools, they shape the entire framework of our intellectual life. In Indian philosophy, both the tools, the logic, the science of reasoning, and epistemology, the study of knowledge, are essential for understanding the world and our place in it. Logic in philosophy is the systematic study of the principles of valid inference and correct reasoning. It is concerned with understanding the structure of arguments, what makes an argument valid or invalid, and how conclusions can be drawn from the premises. Logic is vital because it ensures that our thinking processes lead to reliable conclusions and help us avoid common fallacies or errors in reasoning. In classical Indian philosophy, logic played a significant role in the development of various schools of thought. Unlike the typical Western focus on syllogistic reasoning, such as that found in Aristotelian logic, Indian logic, particularly in schools like Nyaya, present a unique and sophisticated framework. This system emphasizes not only the structure of arguments, but also the methodology for analyzing and evaluating them. Both logic and epistemology play an essential role in shaping the Indian philosophical tradition. From the early Nyaya schools, formal system of logic, to the mystical insights of Advaita Vedanta, Indian philosophers have consistently sought to explore how we reason what we know and how we can justify our beliefs. By integrating logic with epistemology, Indian thinkers have provided a rich, nuanced framework for understanding both the world and the mind's relationship to it. Indian philosophy's distinct approach to logic and epistemology provides us with alternative ways of thinking about knowledge and reasoning, encouraging us to question not only the content of our beliefs, but also the very process through which we acquire and justify them. In today's world, where we are bombarded with information and opinions, a deeper understanding of these philosophical foundations is more important than ever. Logic and epistemology are two pillars that uphold the structure of philosophical inquiry, whether in the Indian or the Western traditions. By examining the foundational principles of reasoning and the nature of knowledge, we can sharpen our ability to think critically and navigate complex ideas with clarity. The Indian philosophical tradition, with its unique systems of logic and theories of knowledge, offers a profound and enriching perspective on these topics.